Greetings, this is Joanna from Universal Unity and Universal Light Wisdom and Healing Centers. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Welcome back. This is Joanna. Thank you so much for tuning in today and this beautiful new moon energies of Pisces. Thank you so much. And we're just being ushered into our equinox later on this week on the 20th. And we have a beautiful gathering with Carrie Murphy, who is a host of Straight Talk for the Soul on the 20th, as well as later that afternoon, we're going to hold a equinox ceremony and celebration and initiation. I like to bring in invocations and initiations in all of my work because I love quantum energy. I love to inspire new beginnings, and I love to activate new behaviors and new patternings of potentialities with the human collective and with my own personal path. I've seen things work, and I've seen things transition in so many different ways. So I bring forward what I know. I bring forward what I practice. I bring forward what excites me. And to those who so desire to dance in the dance of this divine soul creative opportunity, feel free to join us. The website is up there on the channel and the screen that Tina has, http://ulwhc.com, as well as many of the free resources that we have there. Today we're talking about, and kind of spiraling from last week's topic about stories and how we are evolving as master divine masters of creation, and we're allowing ourselves to think of ourselves and to view ourselves and to envision ourselves and to feel and sense and know and hear in every way that we are multidimensional beings, the source creator within, our divine heavenly mother father within, the divine heavenly aspects in the threefold flame, if you will, of all that we are as daughters and sons of mother father God, and the duality and the balance of male and female, and all that we are as divine temples of light, the social or the spiraling energetic systems of elegance that we have within us, spiraling its own soul song. And we are the navigators, we are the storytellers, we are the songwriters, we are the artists, we are all things within that divine creatorhood that so many of us, even as a collective, are now saying. Our collective clarion call has been sent out saying, we're ready to belong to our cosmic and galactic families. We're ready to understand our universality. We're ready to understand that we belong to our universe, that we are a part of this grand family. And those were clarion calls put out long ago. And so the process of ascension, the planetary ascension, the human collective ascension, were those stories and those visions put into place through Source Creator, and always has been. It's just that we went so far into density and limitation that fear overran us through everything. But through that process of going within and heeding the call of spirit, that going within cycle of exploring your dynamic eternalness, the Christed truths that we've often talked about, the Christed toolbox, if you will, your imagination, your creativity, your ability to focus with your divine sacred mind and your higher self, is no different than Source Creator. From that perspective of the most vast that we can experience, creating visions of dynamic ascension, visions of dynamic play, sacred play, so that the continuation and evolution of love and benevolence will continue to spiral and play and dialogue. And page after page, story after story, note after note, song after song, they're systems of benevolent play. They're systems of orchestration, and we are within it. We are the moving notes. We're the moving particles of God. We're the source light of infinite and eternal potential awakening to the grander story through which we belong within, through the grander story through which we are writing ourselves within, because we're acknowledging it now. We're aware of it now. We're all forms within the planetary, the human collective, the galactic, the universal, the omnipresence. And it is a part of our understanding, our acknowledging of this, in which we create higher oscillations within the cells, create higher oscillations within the chakra systems, create higher oscillations within our health and wellness and vitality, through which the all ripples. And we will become healthier. We will live longer. We will allow ourselves to feel healthy and dynamic in all ways. And we will begin to then navigate our own health. We will then begin to navigate and call forward those aspects of our innate, those aspects of our Akash, those aspects of all that we are as those source divine creators. Because Source is saying, you're a part of me. Do you feel me now? Can you sense me now? You've opened up to Mother, Father, God. You've opened up to your Christ creatorhood. And now we're opening up to your omnipresence, the Source Creator. And I'll send through to you those encodations. I'll send through these beautiful visions of the souls, these beautiful visions of benevolent evolution, so that you may see what we see from our perspective. As Source says, this is the omnipresence, and it's kind of how it looks. Although we can do the best with what we can, but it's still beyond what we can describe. It's still beyond what we can draw. It's still beyond what we can imagine. And it's supposed to be. That's the majesty of it all. We're not supposed to have it all figured out. We're continually allowing ourselves to evolve into wider and grander fields of potentiality, fields of omnipresence, of consciousness. And as we allow our consciousness to feed within those exciting oscillations of quantum excitement, of quantum play and sacred play, we see very quickly, and this is what I've come to realize, that the many years that I've been on my ascension path, many of the tools that have worked for me, and I've said this over and over, and I've posted it in many articles and many YouTube videos, that what works most dramatically, and how you create these new reality experiences and how you create these new quantum ignitions through the activations within, is through visualizations and powerful I am statements. It just does. It's that quantum I am presence. It's your God essence saying, I am the commander of my ship, and I will steer in this way. My cells are listening. My body is listening. All that I am is a quantum multidimensional being of divine living Christed light. My chakras, my blood, all that I am, my divine sacred heart. I'm aligned with my divine sacred mind and my higher self. I am one. You ignite it through divine sacred breath. And you create the divine I am statements that allow you to feel and entrain yourself within a higher vibrational frequency. And I was given the word entrainment, I think a year ago, 2 years ago. And it was when I was doing some channeling work with Metatron. And entrainment was a word that I had gifted myself through Metatron. And it was a word that we had used in our galactic and our celestial energy work, because it's what's used in that form of energy alignments. How to align yourself to higher frequencies is called entrainment. And entrainment, how I describe it, is the practice and acknowledgement and the rewiring, the re-encoding of your dynamic multidimensional allness within new vibrational patterns of potential. It may sound wordy, but it just means you're offering yourself a new acknowledgement of vibration. And every time that a negative thought form comes in or a negative belief form creeps up, trust me, I've had them all, and I've entrained myself into higher vibrations. And I've remembered myself doing this in other frequencies, and that's how I've remembered the word entrainment and why I've been using it the last couple of weeks and last couple of months. Because I've truly, there was those moments of negative collective akash that I really had to transcend and move beyond. And it's not saying that that story is over, because we're all constant evolution, constant ebbing and flowing of what the collective is moving through. But there are those dynamic moments that seem so very dark and dense. And entrainment is how I have transcended and overcome into a state where I feel now I feel there's been a complete awakening and a lifting, if you will, or a release. It just feels new. I just feel new. That's all I can say. And the entrainment is, I'll say it once again, the practice of acknowledgement, the rewiring within the brain synapses. You're telling all that you are as a multidimensional being, physical, mental, etheric, emotional, and all that you are beyond that. And re-encoding dynamic, multidimensional all within new vibrational patterns of potential. Because how we act the way we do, how we behave the way we do as a collective, is based on beliefs, based on thoughts create beliefs, beliefs create patterns of behavior, and so on. When you balance the ego, when you go and do the inner work, when you go in and do the inner love and compassion and releasing, and you're doing that path work, you see very quickly that you're letting go of ego more and more and more, and you use it as a manifestation tool that it was always meant to be, but you're guided and you're directed with spirit. So to do that, one must entrain themselves to trust, to love, to open to divine flow, and trust that those entrainment behaviors are paying off, because they just do. You're training yourself to know yourself as Christed. I am Christed. I'm acknowledging it. I'm aware of it. I know it. I can see it. I can sense it. I can feel it. I can hear it. You're entraining yourself to know that all of those within your divine collective are malleable agreements, co-creating love and lessons and themes and stories and songs and divine visions through which each and every one of you are the teacher and the student in every moment. Because even those that we think that might be a different dimensional frequency, and we sometimes knock heads against, and there's always that constant weaving. But they're the ones that have come here to teach us the most through self-love and compassion, through forgiveness and non-judgment, and all of those things that we learn along the path. Those are entrainments. You're entraining yourself to let go of judgments and see all beings as God, to see all life as God, to see you as God, to go within and love yourself so much so that you just want to be love. And you're transcending that. You're entraining yourself to a higher vibrational way of behaving. It's the practice, the acknowledgement. You're rewiring your synaptic brain to say that anytime a negative thought comes up, boom, I'm entraining myself to see myself as Christ did. As Source sees you, as source particles of light, just as Source is encoded Source. And when we say the encodations that are sent from Divine Central Sun, those are the divine encodations sent from Father Source Creator for every universe game, for every universe agenda, for every universe evolutionary program, for every systematic divine orchestration. And each encodation is sent its own dynamic elixir of ingredients, if you will. And so too are you. So when you create those sacred practices and those initiations, play in that way. Know and visualize yourself creating those encodations that will serve the illness within, or the blockage within, or the active breath that wants to open your divine sacred heart. And train yourself with the creative Christed tools that you have. We all have them for a reason. It's to entrain ourselves into more expansive evolutionary ways of behaving and playing and being one with one another. It's all love, light cycles. And so allowing ourselves to see and be in this essence, so too will it be mirrored to you in this way. For it's in the entrainment that we acknowledge our multidimensional universality. It's our acknowledgement that we are beings of living light, which means we can practice, we can direct, we can navigate, we can command within living light behaviors. We can heal ourselves within this way. We can allow ourselves to love ourselves unconditionally in this way, for we are all within cycles of love light. It's always an ebb and flow. The more expansive you are within that ebb and flow will be the reality you experience. We are always ever evolving. We're ever new, ever moment. Those are these Christed truths that we were talking about that you can begin to weave within your story. What story would you like to tell yourself today? What vision would you like to create for yourself today? And so Source Father Creator is showing me that they've offered these musings and imaginings for me because I really get excited and I really feel my multidimensional presence and I feel my belonging, because for me it's been so very lonely. I felt so very lonely upon this experience and its particular lifetime. And it's reminded me of many other lifetimes I've had to heal and come forward. And knowing that I can be as expansive as I can and not hold back, and to be my pure and gorgeous multidimensional creator source self, and express myself in this way and be proud of it and really fall in love with this. But I've gifted myself these topics of discussion like vision and storytelling and song and tone, because it goes right to the vibratory ignition and activation of all that I am as a multidimensional being. And there's encodations in what I just said. Because if we allow ourselves to visualize the beautiful beehive of threading of energy systems, and any encodation that is offered from the Divine Source Creator is a gift and a blessing unconditionally and eternally and infinitely to awaken, to activate, to enliven, to nurture, to nourish, to feed, to be that soft and beautiful blanket that all that we are can just soak within that pillowy essence of love. And that's how I see those source encodations. The encodings that we often talk about. You can ignite and activate your own encodings, and that you can create sacred play within your initiations and your ceremonies in that. We can direct the encodations. We can direct the codes. If you'd like to have a heartfelt opening and a loving moment with yourself, with your multidimensional self, create a code and visualize a code that Source Creator is gifting you. And so Source Creator is showing me that there's these beautiful sacred geometries and these notes and these light language glyphs that are being gifted, and it's up to each and every one of us to create and direct those gifts in whatever way we want. Does that make sense, dear lighted ones? This is how divine creator you are. And this is so exciting. There's such celebration in the etheric chambers, because we're now becoming the realization. We are now becoming the manifestation of our source creatorhood, our divinehood. The Christed truths of all that we are, to be able to express, to be able to create and co-create with one another in this way, to explore and examine our Christhood in this way, through the divine inner temples of all that we are, through our higher mind focus, through the allowing and the healing of all that we are, and creating those new beautiful Piscean amalgamations and those Piscean unions and harmonizations of the God self, the creator self. And they're all dynamic systems of orchestration of love. The source creator as the imaginator of the systems of orchestration for benevolency, for evolution, for new light programs. And there's councils and beings within the multiverse that are gathered in that way to assure, to create excitedly new life programs, new ascension universal programs through which an entire universe moves up into a new universal cycle. So too do the galaxies. So too do all the planets within those star systems. Do you see what we're saying here, dear lighted ones? There is no end to our eternalness. There is no end to our orchestration. And our multidimensional parenting topic for today, we're getting a lot in these 2 hours, so it's just flying. The multidimensional parenting, understanding dimensional experience and the family dynamics. So just as we're offered our understanding that each and every one of us, as well as the planet, the galaxy, and the universe, operates and is a part of its own unique agenda. Its modus operandi, if you will. So too does each and every person. Each and every person comes with their own theme and their blueprint, and these malleable agreements, if you will, that they shift and change through free will and through free choice. As we know that, where if all of us are existing within some sort of community or circle, in which the free will of one person ripples through and affects the all. So too does each and every thought and belief system that we have, and how we can entrain ourselves so that as a collective, the collective entrainment, moment for moment for moment, choice for choice for choice, the entrainment of that entire collective movement becomes higher and more expansive. And that's what global awakening, community awakening really is. Each and every one of us up the ante, if you will. We up the energetic vibration. We create new dimensional threadings. Remember that the idea of dimensional experience is informational and vibrational. And these are all, again, malleable. It's a vibrational, malleable, informational agreement that each and every one of us hold. There's always that push and that pull. There's always that moving, that igniting. There's always that I give, you take, I give, that back and forth. So that in that cycle of love light, there is awakening, there is conscious awareness, there is forgiveness, there is love, there is compassion, there is all of those God rays that we all entangle, that we all are, at any one moment can come forward and entangle in new visions of stories of love. And each being, each personality, if you will, each has its own dimensional spec and each blueprint, if you will. And the word that I've used, veils, we're going to use it in a different way, because veils, if you will, are the, and my youngest son was excited and curious about encoding, gaming, encoding, and how to encode. And that's how I see veils. Veils are those encodings that you've given yourself to see certain things in that one lifetime, or that one moment of time, if you will. As you awaken into self-love, as you awaken into your Christedness and your that going in and that seeking that oneness within thyself and love and compassion, those veils change. You allow yourself to see more. Your field opens up, your field of play, if you will. You're allowing yourself to be encoded into a wider play of dynamic. The veils are, again, informational. What am I going to allow myself to see as information today? What am I going to allow myself to experience as vibrational today? What am I going to allow myself, the specs, if you will, how you see, the specs of a drawing of a house, the specs of a drawing of your reality, the specs of a drawing of the book you're writing. It doesn't matter what the specs are. It could be glasses that you see through. Whatever the specs are, that's the veil. And it can be limited, or it can be dynamic and open and expansive. So we choose. Each and every one of us has free choice. Whatever that free choice is will be that vibrational frequency that they resonate within, whether it be slow, fast, faster, and so on and so forth, which are the cells. As you awaken and lighten up, your cells get faster. As your thought picks up, your thought gets faster. You're able to take on multidimensional information at a quicker pace. That's why we've all been rewired and refined over the many, many years, and why we're using different words and different expansiveness potentialities so that we get used to moving in such expansive paradigms of play. But each and every one of us come with our own veils, with our own specs, if you will, that we see through. We see our reality based on what we've come here to choose to see, to experience, to learn, to move through, to transcend, to grow beyond, to whatever it might be, the words that you use, and it doesn't matter. But each and every one of us are a part of that source spark, that are a part of those soul stories, that are a part of that vision within the grander scheme of creation. And this has been really important for me as a mother, because instead of feeling so responsible for everybody within the household, and instead of feeling responsible for everyone's path, which I have been, and I've let go of so much. Last night I was thinking about, wow, I've changed so much. And I gave myself a few moments to truly think about how much I've changed as a parent and as a mother and as a human being. And the amount of control that I thought I had to have of over everyone's lives to make everything better for everybody. And as a healer, that's what many healers feel. That just even walking in a room, we're supposed to make it better for everybody. But the responsibility only lies within thyself. I'm only responsible for my field. I'm only responsible for my vibration and my own happiness. And as I do so, so too do the others see from that example of vibrational perspective. And they can still choose whether to take on a more expanded point of view through the heart or not. But to just come to that acknowledgement that we each come with our own unique perspective. We each come with our own unique blueprint. We each come with our own unique dimensional, vibrational perspective of information and knowledge that we work within. If one is working within a vibration that is a slower oscillation or perspectives that they move through, they might be seen through glasses that are completely shaded and fogged over or really scratched, and they can't quite see what you might see in one moment. But there's still that God being within you, and there's still that God being within them that can have that co-entanglement of love and harmonization so that they all are served. So that they behave and they act and they respond and they react in the way that they do based on the perspective and the specs that they look through. Does that make sense, dear lighted ones? For their dimensional experience is based on where they're operating within the information that they have, within the vibration that they are. Does that make sense, dear lighted ones? So that we can let go of the worry and the concern and the wanting to fix everything and heal everyone or make their paths clear the way for everyone. For we really can't. And we're really not supposed to. Because it's the free will and the choice and the divine vision of each and every person to create the unique visions for their own paths. And to create the unique specs that when they're ready to release those veils and to change those veils and to re-encode them and entrain another veil of light and love, then they do so at their own free will. And that's us, again, moving within the malleability of our source creatorhood, of knowing that, understanding it, acknowledging it, and letting go of the worry, letting go of the stress. And I've had many of those moments. Remember, I speak from experience. And it's quite dynamic to just sit back and just let it go, and just say, I can really easily just let it go. I don't have to feel responsible. Because we're all bringing with us, as we awaken and as we move within these grand universal omnipresence, we're remembering other lifetimes from other star systems and other planets and other earthly lifetimes. But you can now, as a master, command, and you can navigate and masterfully choose in a way, by initiation and ceremony of yourself, to say, I choose to see the beauty in this moment. I choose to see my dynamic wisdoms and intelligences that can allow me to see the love and the God in all things. Choose to bring forward your gifts. Choose to bring forward your intelligence. Choose to bring forward your compassion and your understanding and your love for thyself first, so that you can release the tethers and the chains and the threads, if you will, that make you feel responsible for all things and all beings and all people and all paths when you're not. Nobody is. We're only responsible for our vibrational fields that we carry, that we are. So too is everyone else. But another beautiful it's like epiphany that I had was that I was seeing, as Source Father was allowing me to see, the multiverse, the omnipresence, if you will, and all these visions of love that each and every one of us are, and how we're each spiraling within our own dynamic orchestration of benevolent games of love. We're the vision of Source sent forward in all of these different dimensional threads. So too are our children. And that was just beautiful for me. Because I've always thought of myself as the kind of the mother hen and just kind of trying to fix things and clear the way and make things all right and create happiness and joy for everybody. But oftentimes it's not our job to do that because they must walk through their own path and they must walk through their own lessons. And for crystalline children, there is a perspective of karma and there is a perspective of reality they have to walk through so that they can move beyond that quickly and do what they're supposed to do, and to do what they're here to serve and fulfill their soul's purpose and fulfill their soul's vision, the vision of their soul that is singing a song for them. And unless they walk through the lessons, and unless they walk through the portals of transition, the portals of wisdom and intelligence, then that soul vision can't be served. And so it's truly allowance. It's truly accepting and seeing that all of those beings within your agreements are those visions of love that you have co-created with them in the highest of forms. Come and be this vision so that I may see myself as the most uncompassionate and the most compassionate person that I can be. And there's moments where you truly do feel uncompassionate, to see that polarity, that resolve. And it truly is. I have felt an amazing resolve, just a sense of peace. And that's what that polarity resolve is. It's a sense of peace. And it's an ever-evolving moment. And I'm open and I'm allowing of that. But I also am open and allowing of my source creatorhood to say I'm now commanding what I see. I can now command what I bring in and call in. I can now command what I choose to experience. And have all of those within my agreements to nurture and love as I love and nurture, to bring forward surprise and elegance as I surprise and create elegance. So I'm commanding and I'm moving and navigating in more of an elegant way, and not worrying and being so concerned and caught up in the resistance of it all. Because that's exactly what creates those mirror reflections that seem as if you're on the treadmill. It just is. And it's surrendering into the unconditional faith that each and every person, each and every being has their unique speck of vibrational dimensional reality that they're here to move through. That's how diversity and unity is created, is harmonized. Is through each and every person moving about their own unique path. As we do so, as we allow for that, as we let go and just surrender into it, that gives us the open quantum space, if you will, to talk about what we're talking about today, light field potentiation, so that when that child and that person in your agreement is ready to step upon their light field of co-creation and manifest in their most dynamic creatorhood way, those light fields are there for them to do so. Do you see what we're saying here, dear lighted ones? That we are setting up the generational light fields of play. We are setting up what we seem to think as linear time, but it's all now. That in these co-creative expressive moments of our Christed selves, and understanding that dimension is really only a view of information and vibration, and that each person's vibration and information is needed, required, in the grander system of benevolence. And how them walking through their karma, and how them walking through their challenges, and how them walking through their own inner knowing of who they are as God beings. And that's where the parents and the adults, our new role is to guide and offer and create a safe environment and a creative environment for the children to know that they go back within for their own God self, that they go back within for their Christed creative solutions, that they go back in and know that they are loved unconditionally. For when we allow them that inner seeking of inner love, inner seeking of higher intelligence, the inner seeking of their teams and their celestial guides and their higher self and the God within, that's when the resistance that we see playing out in our reality just disappears, because that will be in another system of orchestration. Because the children are not engaged with their multidimensional bodies, because they're not remembering, it's not being taught. So it's up to us as guardians, as parents, as teachers, as light workers, as healers, to begin a conversation to begin with. Who are we as God? Let's explore the God within. We've been getting comfortable with this word God, transcending all religion, transcending all limitation and all fear and all dogma. So let's go within and start beginning our conversation. Who are you? What exists within you? And you know how dynamic it is? You can do anything. How does your multidimensional body feel in this moment of now? Your emotions, let's talk about emotions and feelings. Your mental capabilities, you have such refined focus. You're building 3 and 4D, 5D structures in your mind, and you're creating it with blocks and paper and wood. So allow them these reconnections of their divinehood. Allow them these reconnections of their multidimensional potentials as crystalline light beings, and they'll remember it very quickly, and they'll get excited because it's that missing piece, if you will, to the puzzle. Because what they see in the world is not what they see and know within. And that's what's been causing the trajectory miss, if you will. And why they feel and behave in the way that they do. Because there's not that confluence. Confluence is the way things merge coalescingly, seamlessly, fluidically. And it's that energetic hiccup, if you will. And it's not that fluidic divine flow. Remember, energy is always about fluid movement. But that fluid movement is obtained by the awareness, by our acknowledgement, by our going within and being of it. Remember, entrainment of new behaviors, entrainment of new expansive concepts. And these kids will get it very quickly. And that's why they're engaging in the electronics and engaging in those ways. Because what they see on the outside world is kind of a hiccup, if you will, to what they know within. And so it's up to each and every one of us, for those who so desire, and this is what I get excited about, is creating new paradigms of thought, creating new paradigms of potentiality through which these children go within and reconnect with their multidimensional bodies. Reconnect with themselves as a physical, mental, emotional, and etheric being of living light, constantly changing, evolving, and ever moving. Have them be okay with dream discussion and dream interpretation, and have them come up with their own symbologies and come up with their own interlacing and entanglement and engagement with Gaia and wildlife. Re-engaging them with more dynamic, higher dimensional ways of behaving. And these children will click on very quickly. Because as it is right now, it's very disengaged. It's very separate. And it's very, they're moving within arenas of electronics and arenas of not communing within who they are as a collective, as a human being. And they're not feeling good about who they are as a human being, some of them. Not all of them, but some of them. I'm speaking from my own experience as well. There was a moment in my recent healing in which I saw myself as a little girl, and I saw myself on a beautiful grassy field. But I felt as I was a little girl, and I was crying because I didn't understand why I was here. I didn't understand, and I felt, this is what I said to myself, I don't know why I was put here. That's what I said to myself as this little girl. And it was myself, the higher self of me, bringing in that aspect of that inner child, bringing in her in to be loved and to be honored for that voice that she held. Because so many of my experiences were as a crystalline child in my own unique way, in my own unique perspective and vision, and what I was brought here to perceive and to see and to transcend into those themes and those specks as we talked about earlier, dimensional vibrational specks. What I was seeing was different and not in alignment with what I knew to be true in my heart. And I felt very confused and lost and alone. And through that healing, I allowed that inner child, that dynamic, beautiful little girl, and my higher self was healing that little girl to say, I understand this, how this feels for you. I understand it. I get it. Because I see it in the reality all around me, and we can help. This is the reason why we came here. This is the reason why we chose this dynamic story, because we can create light within it. It's a new love-light cycle. Do you see? And this dialogue and this discussion that was being had was very healing, because I didn't feel so alone anymore. And when I did that, I opened up to the divine universal families that, as I said at the beginning of the show, the energies in the etheric chamber now to me feel as an enrapture of family. I don't necessarily have the energies being separated as Pleiadians, the Syrian High Command, and the different names and the groups that we've given them. Now I feel it and I sense it as a universal enrapture. It's a family, and it really feels that it's a unified family that comes forward in energy. And then I see Father, Source, Creator out beyond the divine central Son of Mother, Father God, and it's a thread, a link that goes right to my divine sacred heart. And that's how I thread out and up to the energies, and when they're offering something specific that I can bring a vision to, that I can bring a creative view, perspective to, a creative musing to, so that those who so desire can also perceive and explain, expand in this way to their own stories. And so the energies in the etheric chambers feel that way to me now, and it just feels as one. And it's wonderful because it doesn't have to be explained anymore. It doesn't have to be gifted names or our definitions anymore or separations, because we're opening up into our source essence, our all essence, our isness, our allness. And so those were some of the healings that came forward in my healing of my multidimensional self within my family paradigm, within me understanding that I am a child of God, I am a child of a grander universal family, and I can allow this sense of wholeness to begin a new vision and a new soul song to be fulfilled. Because I no longer feel alone on the ride, if you will. There's great song to be sung in my journey. And as I wish all children to know how special and how unique and how diverse they are, to come forward in their own unique song, to know that it's okay to feel the frustration and the interpretation or the interruption, and that's how it feels. It feels like an interruption between what they know to be true or what they desire to see or experience, because oftentimes they don't have the words to put what they feel and what they know into a discussion, because we're just doing it now. So imagine the crystalline children and how they feel and how they're experiencing, and how dynamic and loved and beautiful and incredible they are as source creators. But to also understand that all beings in your agreements, your soul agreements, your blueprint agreements, how malleable, how fluid, how flexible they are. But how you shift the perspective if you know that, and if you acknowledge and understand and let go of their dynamic diversity that they serve within the grand orchestration. It's dynamic. It's beautiful. And how each and every one of you are students, each and every one of you are teachers, each and every one of all of us are visions of the soul songs being fulfilled, right? From Source Creator. And how it's just a beautiful relief, and you can just sigh and just, it's a beautiful plan of orchestration. You just let go. You're being all that you are the moment you just fall in love with who you are. All is being looked after. Your soul divine plan is unfolding. Your destiny is unfolding through love. As you see it and accept it in all others, it's unfolding for them too. But it's when we perceive that they're not. It's when we perceive difference, when we perceive separation, when we perceive less than or different than. That's when those resistance come forward. That's when we receive the experience of the treadmill. Because we're the ones perceiving that separation. We're the ones perceiving not than, or we're perceiving something different than all that is. We are all one. And so allowing those visions of the unified song, the visions of the unified soul song, each soul is fulfilling their own soul purpose by being exactly who they are. It's going within us and accepting all that we are is all that we are. And that's where we begin. That's what the whole ascension and awakening is all about. Loving all that you are, in all that you are, in all moments of all that you are. And it does oftentimes take forgiveness. It does oftentimes take compassion. It does oftentimes create new perspectives of thyself. Constant love light cycles. And it's so dynamic and it's so profound. So that's just a brief overview and an understanding of dimensional understanding, and why everyone within your soul circle, everyone within your soul agreements, whether it be at work, at play, social circles, it doesn't matter what we're talking about or how it's defined, it doesn't matter. But everyone that you have an agreement with, there is that equal give and take, that equal flow, and it's that equal love light cycle. To let go and understand that all beings behave and act and perceive in the way that they do based on their unique, diverse perspective. It's still whole, it's still one, it's still involved within the source creator of all. And their unique perspective is exactly what is needed at that moment, so that we all move within the grander orchestration. And how us focusing on our own love and our own love of self and our own compassion of self releases the resistance that sometimes those relationships can have. Because it's our expectations, it's the ego that wants it in a different way. Or why don't they see the way things I do? Or why don't they agree with the things that I do? And all of those other things that create resistance, because they're not you, they're them. And it's perfect. You're perfect you, they're perfect them, it's all perfect. That's the divine Christhood being in perfection. And that's the unity in diversity. And it's beautiful. And there's a grand song of universal beingness within it all. And Source Creator is within you as you are within Source. We're fractals of love in motion, visioned from Source Creator, breathed, our very first existence from the most highest of our understanding of dimensional understandings. Because remember, as each and every one of us expands who we are in light and love, so too do the dimensional potentialities of our universe expand. We create the dimensions of experience as we awaken, as we enliven ourselves within love. Where at one point there was 11 dimensions, and then there were 12 dimensions. And it's through our dimensionality awakenings, it's through our dimensionality of love within thyself, and just moving about your excitement, that joyful action, that beautiful divine innocence of play that the children have. It's us being and enlivening ourselves as the children of God. Behaving in this way creates those opening of dimensional potentials that we all have access to, and which more and more and more of us are now sensing, hearing, feeling, or knowing within our innate sensings, because we're all divine source creators. So thank you, Father Source, for bringing those forward. But I also wanted to read the comments that I had from the etheric chamber, and the first one was from the Councils of Light. And the first comment is, just as you are able to oversee and offer the template of vibration and creativity, each and every one of us, we're templates of vibration and creativity, new paradigms within yourself as a uniquely diverse aspect. So we are uniquely diverse aspects of Father Source, of Mother, Father, God, of all that is. We are each fractals of creation. And if you were to see each and every one of us as an entire crystal, if you will, because I like to refer to Gaia as often as possible, and looking at the various sides and views and ebbs and flows and hues that a crystal can have put up to a sunlight or a ray of light. Each and every one of us are these fractals within creation, and why I often refer to the shape of the beehive. Imagine that beehive being a grander crystal within creation and having its own vision, soulful game, and that theme that it's playing. And we each are temples, and each and every one of us is a temple of light, and why we have the systems of energies within us to understand, to awaken, to acknowledge. So too are we now aware of our allness within it all. We are aware that we offer shifts. We are aware that we offer encodations. We are aware that we offer the musings and the potentialities. For as it is within each and every one of us as individuals, so too can we offer these new encodings to the home, to the family, to the community temples. So we can now navigate ourselves as divine temples of light. We can now say, I'd like an encoding to heal this part of my chakra. I can allow this to go here. I can create focus and healing, whatever it might be that you're navigating and creating focus for and masterfully moving about your life. So too can you now navigate these encodations within the home, within the community. I now offer a loving blessing for the greater good of all in abundance and prosperity to my family, to my human family, and move out in your blessings and in your enrichments that way. So that it is a grander vision of Source Creator that too is opening itself as each and every one of you do. Source Creator is also opening to new potentials. And although it would seem too unfathomable, it's hard for me to say that word, unfathomable, to expand to that reality perspective on what that looks like, know that in the conception of Source Creator, there too is excitement to step forward into new paradigms of beingness. And what is occurring now, as we sense your consciousness stretching its creativity to create sacred play in this way. So what they're saying is that as you are sitting within your etheric chamber, as you are sitting within your etheric sacred soul tribe, there are many of you that are stretching your consciousness to see what Source Creator might look like, or might feel like, or might create like. But know too that even those imaginings are the very excitement fractals, are those very excitement quantum potentials that Source Creator is excited to step into new creative potentials that it is, the all is. Do you see what we're saying? We wanted to give you a little bit of an envision as to Source Creator is also too stepping on new platforms. That's how we're all moving in this evolutionary dance. And it truly is an elegant dance. That as we offer and go within our temples and refine our temples and create those beautiful ceremonies and sacred rituals and sacred shifts of encodations and potentials, so too is the grander vision of Source. And even though it might be impossible for us to see what that might look like in this one moment, but our creativity can be inspired and just play in that way. And those sacred moments of play is what expands creation. Does that make sense, dear lighted ones? Did we have this conversation a year ago? And if so, it would be a different story, a different paradigm, a different co-creative experience. But in this moment of now, the offering is such that your hearts are open such that your creative minds are open such that you're excited to play such that new paradigms of potentiation are being the excitement that Source Creator is stepping into something new again. And that's wonderful. I mean, how beautiful is that? This is why we honor and celebrate you, for you are filling with such excitement and joy and love in these communions. For these very sacred gatherings are the creative fuel, the creational elixir that inspires life out and up and throughout, all the way within and without to Source. You are dearly loved, the Council of Light. And so that's beautiful. This is why we honor you. This is why we celebrate you. This is why we are filled with such love and joy and excitement. Because in these very communions, in these very sacred gatherings, it is the creative fuel. It is the creational elixir that inspires life out, life up, throughout, and all the way within and without. And how beautiful is that? We are in this moment creating creational elixir. From the excitement within your divine sacred heart, from the excitement within your divine belly to know that all is well, that you're a divine creator of Source, that Father Source knows you, that Father Source loves you, that Mother, Father, God love you, that all that you are is a divine hood creator. You will be sparked and you will be ignited with divine inspirations of your own creatorhood to show you, to dance with you, to dance through you in such profound and unimaginable ways, because you are a divine essence and a creator within it. Have you sensed your Source essence today, dear lighted ones? Have we tickled the essence of all that you are as a divine Source creator? Have you felt the essence of all that you are as a divine being of light in such a way that you look in the mirror in new ways, that before stepping out of bed in the morning, that you allow yourself to be still and silent at your divine sacred heart and know that within every breath is rippled a new potential to create light and love within a new cycle, and that very moment is a new vision through which Source Creator is excited to dance with you in. And how incredibly exciting. And here is our last message from the Divine Father Source. And I'm so very blessed and I'm so very moved to be moving through the experiences that I have been, to be a part of this co-creation and to bring forward these excitements and these passions that are mine, but I get to offer them and just have them move without creation like a dance in and of itself. And so I'm very grateful and I'm very humbled and I'm very deep reverence. And I'm stepping into a certain sense of self-love as I do so and as I share these moments of my own elegant dance with creation. So thank you, all of you, my sacred soul tribe in human form. Thank you. And the divine heavenly councils and the etheric chambers. Thank you. This one is from the Divine Father Source. You have been offered the divine and sacred blessing of all gifts, of all blessings bestowed within and from all realms and all worlds that you have ever taken part within. In this now concurrent moment, you are an active co-creator within every dimensional vibration, just as we, us, are all one. I am the creator within you, ready to engage, ready to entangle as you choose. And thus, we are the dust within the spark to begin anew. We are the concepts and we are the notions. We are the coalescing fuel that all things are made manifest. I am, we are, reminding you of your power and divinehood. In loving co-creation, you are divinely loved. How beautiful is that? You have been offered the divine and sacred blessings of all gifts, all bestowals of all realms that you have ever experienced in this now moment. All realms, all star planets, every earthly lifetime. And you're gifted. It's gifted. However, we haven't been aware of it. We haven't acknowledged it because that's just what we were entrained as, limited beings of human experience. But now that we can acknowledge, now that we can become aware, now that we can flow within this new divine creatorhood, Father Source is saying, I've gifted you all things, all times. And these rarefied encodations, these purified encodations of love light, you can choose to dance within it however you so choose. Remember your divine creatorhood. For I am the dimensional vibration with you. I am the co-creator with you. I am ready to engage and entangle with you as you so choose. We are the dust within the spark to begin anew. We are all concepts, all notions coalescing. We are the fuel that is all made manifest. I am, we are. Reminding you of your divinehood in loving co-creation, in loving benevolence to co-create, in loving honor of evolution, in loving honor of thy life, for you are a source creator. Make no mistake about that, dear lighted ones. You are blessed. And in this, dear lighted ones, I send you my deep love and my deep appreciation and my deep gratitude for joining us week after week after week and allowing us to be heartfelt, loving ignition and inspirations for those who so desire to dance with their most expansiveness, with their most eternal Christed self, to create and co-create in this way that we honor and respect and love all life, that we honor, respect the diversity and the unity in all things, in all of ourselves, and all of that is one within us. So thank you so much for, again, joining us. And click on those links to join us on Tuesday for a beautiful equinox ceremony and initiation and celebration. And it will be a beautiful garden and seeds that we will sow for new activations and new reality potentials if you so desire to join us in that class, as well as the Straight Talk for the Soul interview with Carrie. That will be at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And you can find all of our information on our website, which again is http://ulwhc.com. And all of our resources that we've uploaded recently will be in the market. And we will be on our social platforms as usual. So thank you so much, dear lighted ones. My very best to you in your celebratory energies. And truly enjoy this beautiful spring equinox and love all that you are, love all those around you, and know that you are divinely loved and supported in all moments, and you are divinely blessed. Namaste, dear lighted ones.
Thank you, dear lighted ones, for entangling with us in this beautiful and divine Sacred Soul Tribe co-creation. For more information on our divine offerings, self-healing sessions, events, books, and monthly Sacred Temple teachings, a Universal Unity offering, may we forever dance in the beautiful light of all that we are as Christed beings of divine, loving light. Thank you, dear friends.